All eyes on Doge. Big run up to the moon. Whew. Doge still going up. All eyes on Doge. Still big run up to the moon. Keep going up. Going up. All eyes on Doge. Dogecoin. Up movement in Doge. Dogecoin. Up. All eyes on Doge. Dogecoin. Up movement in Doge. Dogecoin. 42.60. All eyes on Doge. Dogecoin.
Hey everybody, Kriss here. Welcome on a Thursday afternoon. How's everybody doing? We're hanging in there, right? We're holding on. Some are panic selling. Markets are down. Today, on this live stream, we're just going to look at weeklies. We're not going to zoom in. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. We're zoomed out. We're looking at the bigger picture today. Because when you zoom in, you get a false sense of what's going on. Last night, V-shaped recovery for Dogecoin. I tweeted that out, and this morning we were actually holding up fairly well. So, yeah, Ryan, we may go to the minute chart if things are looking a little are looking good. But it's either the minute or the week, right? It's nothing in between today. Nothing in between. So, what happened today? Why are the markets down? We're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about a little bit of history as well as, what can you do about it? So that's going to be today. I will get to you guys in the chat in just a minute. I want to go through some things. First, we've got the ats. The ats are back in the chat. I thought I was going to fly under the radar because we had the ats before and they changed back to your names. And now we're back to the ats again. I think we're stuck now with the ats. So if you don't like your at, you can change it. You just go to YouTube and you go through your account settings and you can change your at. The one thing about the at is it is individual. Nobody can have the same at as you. When it was the YouTube names, like when Charlotte used to be the queen of Doge, right? She could be the queen of Doge, but then you could have 5, 10 other queens of Doge, right? Can all be queen of Doge. And those people could actually pretend to be Charlotte on, across YouTube. So the ats were the way to take care of that. So on YouTube, you have a handle. Now, YouTube automatically gave you one when they first changed to the at thing. And that was a while ago. But most people didn't even recognize it because you just went by your name. You didn't care what your at was. But now we've got ats. The ats are back. We're stuck with the ats. And of course, yes, now Charlotte is buy Dogecoin or else, which gives her some amount of power there, actually, threatening as it may be. But that's what it is. So we're with the ats again. And like, if I don't remember who you are because I was used to your name again, and now you've got ats, it's like, wait, who's this person again? Not my fault. I blame YouTube. So it's blame YouTube today for that. All right, let's get into it here. Hey, crypto market crash. First thing, right? Crash. Now, Dogecoin's down 2% on the day. To me, 2%, yeah, not really a crash, right? Not really a crash. Now, have we had consecutive days of red? No, we've had a few more red days than green days. Yes. And on the week, we do have like 4 consecutive weeks of red, which I'll show you when we get back to the charts. But crash? Is the market down? Yes. Is the stock market down? Yes. For today. But we're going to zoom out. We're going to zoom out. And we're going to look at the bigger picture. But first, investors are scaling back on risk assets amid declining hopes that the Federal Reserve will cut rates before the end of the year. So that's the excuse, right? That's the excuse. The September jobs report came out this morning. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. But then the United States announced that they're not going to have the October numbers until the November numbers come out. And when the November numbers come out, it's going to be after the December FOMC meeting, meaning the Fed is not going to have new data, which may lead people to believe with no new data, they won't make a decision about rate cuts. And so the chances of a rate cut in December by the US Fed is plummeting. So that's going down. Fear in the markets, right? And today, the stock market finally took that in and said, yeah, we're going to pull back. But crypto? Really? Crypto? And so we look at, well, Tiffany first said, thank God I put my entire net worth into the S&P 500. And of course, the S&P 500 did tank today. Yes. But we look at the S&P 500 and we go, wait a sec. Let's look at the S&P 500. And we go, really? I mean, yeah, a month ago, we did hit an all-time high, S&P 500. This little pullback here for this week, it's not really too bad. We've had worse. You remember March? February into March, right? The big tariff tank, which of course took down the entire crypto market as well, right? We had that, and look at it, recovered right back and went higher. And we lived through that, right? We did live through that. And in fact, many were saying, hey, buying opportunity, right? Buying opportunity in stocks. There was great buying opportunity there. But you know what else happened March and April? It was a great buying opportunity for crypto too. I was buying Dogecoin at 13 cents. That Dogecoin is still in profit today. Will it remain in profit? That remains to be seen. Even Bitcoin did go down in April and hit all the way down to $75,000. Are we at $75,000 on Bitcoin yet? Nope. We're at 86. Now 86. Some will say crash, a 30% pullback from the all-time high. Well, who was buying Bitcoin at the all-time high? I wasn't. I bought the previous all-time high at 125. It was just $10 worth. It was for the fun of it. Comedic effect. We had fun with that, right? But this is all it is. The stock market was actually in the green when the stock market opened. Like everything was in the green. Nvidia, remember last night we were talking about Nvidia and the earnings and great earnings and all that stuff. Well, yeah, that all got wiped out later today. That all got wiped out. So kind of interesting. The market just completely flipped today. Completely flipped. So CoinMarketCap. Bitcoin fell below 87,000 for the first time since April as expectations for a Federal Reserve cut collapsed to just 37% now, triggering nearly $1 billion in crypto liquidations across the market. So CoinMarketCap is actually close because they did recognize the $1 billion in crypto liquidations. However, do you think the idea that there may not be a rate cut in December directly leads to $1 billion in crypto being liquidated? Is there a direct link there? Well, if you have watched me before, if you've been here before, you know what my answer is. It's the goddamn market makers and exchanges, again, taking out more leverage. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. This is an excuse. And they're going to keep doing this until they finally get to the point where, okay, I'm good. We've had enough. I mean, the futures trading has been close to all-time highs this year, and they're not giving up. They keep thinking they can win it all back by making new long leverage trades because they're not shorting the market down. Well, some of them are, like James Wynn, right? And of course, he's like sitting all high and mighty. See, I told you so. I told you so. Well, we'll see how that plays out. But it is the exchanges and The market makers, which we were showing yesterday with Bybit, was the one I was talking about yesterday, right? They were manipulating the market like hell. They're still doing it today. So what's going on, right? Well, Polymarket is now showing a 58% chance of Bitcoin hitting sub 80K. That it will dip below 80K in 2025. So negativity in the market, yes. There's also a 24% chance of Bitcoin hitting below $70,000 in 2025. That is mega bear. That's mega bear for Bitcoin, because most people were saying sub 70K here was actually going to be the bear market low in 2026, next year, right? Not this year, but next year. We all thought we were going to be October, Moonvember, right? Blow off top, like all of that, alt season. Yeah, none of that happened. None of that happened. And now the sentiment is very negative. And the people who bet on Polymarket are like, yeah, Bitcoin's going to keep going down. So here we are. Mike Alfred says, listen to this, guys. They are pulling out all the stops to try to manipulate Bitcoin lower using perps and futures and other derivatives. They are working overtime to try to scare people out of their corn. Do not fall for it. They are running one of the biggest scams I've ever seen in the markets, period. That's it. Is crypto a scam? Are the exchanges a scam? I don't trust Binance 1 minute. I've told you about October 10th and Binance, right? Totally manipulated. Binance makes money, whether the prices go up or not. They don't care. And they will take out leverage wherever they can. And October 10th was the perfect opportunity for them to flush out the market. But they're not done yet. They are pulling out all the stops, manipulating Bitcoin and crypto lower. And those exchanges, use the market makers, because the market makers make more money the more leverage they flush out. So the market makers are in control. Sentiment is at its worst. They're not taking out the shorts yet. Do you know why? Because that'd be too hard. You got to have the good news, some positive news somewhere, to turn the market back around. So then the market makers can actually start buying a bunch of crypto on spot to help the market come back up and start taking out the shorts. And all we've seen are the little ups and downs to now we need the big one, the big green candle, the God candle, and it's just not coming yet. The sentiment is so negative. I continue. Ash Crypto. Few major crypto funds blew up during the October 10th flash crash that wiped out $19 billion, right? The funds were still intact, right? The ETFs and all of that. Most of those weren't flushing out money on October 10th. No, that was the leverage that was getting flushed out, not the ETFs. But guess what? All of those institutions that bought ETFs, like all of those institutions that bought ETFs, right, are now looking at their balance sheet, and guess what? They're negative. Do you know why? Because they were buying the tops. They were feeding into the whole Bitcoin going to 150, 200, whatever. It was going to be easy money for them. So whether they were taking money out of the tried and true, right, Vanguard, 500, all those stock indices, and they were buying Bitcoin ETFs. Well, guess what? They were buying the Bitcoin ETFs at 110, 120, right? Because they thought it was going to keep going up. Well, guess what? Now, that idea doesn't look so good, does it? With Bitcoin down at 86, and they bought it like 116 or 120. So guess what? They're selling. Yes, that's what we've seen with those ETFs. They are selling. That's why the Bitcoin ETF is down so much in terms of flows. It's all exiting. So that's mass exodus on top of the retail traders who are in fear, who are selling, on top of the market makers, right, who are shorting the cryptos down in order to wipe out more leverage trades. So it's cascading on top of itself. This is typically total bear market stuff, but we weren't expecting the bear market until next year. And they are doing it now. They're accelerating it. So more and more, I'm thinking we are going to have a very short bear market. It's going to be squeezed into a short period of time, and then we're going to recover. So they, being those, they could be investment funds, they could be retirement funds, like whatever else it was that was buying these Bitcoin ETFs, are now being forced to sell Bitcoin and ETH to cover their losses, which explains the relentless dumping. Because you wonder, who's selling? Who's selling? Well, it's the pension funds, right? It's these investment funds, these treasuries perhaps that came in late, right? They weren't Strategy and they weren't Metaplanet. They were more recent. Like, I'm going to start a Bitcoin treasury company. Bitcoin is over 100,000. It's going to go to 200,000. I'm going to double the money easy. And now they're underwater. So ETFs bad. Yes, Ryan. ETFs bad. That's what it's looking like. And that's what's happening. Why do you think the alt versus Bitcoin pairs are actually holding up pretty well right now? Why is Bitcoin dropping more than Dogecoin right now? Yes, Bitcoin is dropping more than Dogecoin because these ETFs are getting strangled. The pension funds, the retirement funds, the investment funds, and the most recent corporate treasuries buying these Bitcoin ETFs are now dumping them, which means that ARK, Grayscale, and BlackRock all need to sell because of all these funds and ETF holders on their platforms also selling. So when you see the X posts and you see article titles that say BlackRock is dumping Bitcoin, no. BlackRock is not dumping Bitcoin. They are just doing what all their ETF holders were doing. The ETF holders are the ones who were dumping their Bitcoin, which means BlackRock also needs to sell because that's how the structure is set up for an ETF. If BlackRock has their own big bag of Bitcoin somewhere else, they can do whatever they want with that. That's what's going on. This thing about the Fed and whether there's an interest rate cut in December or not, that doesn't mean diddly squat. It really doesn't mean diddly squat. And that, again, is my very technical term for that. That's not it. That's an excuse. Just like on October 10th, they said, well, the ETF, the US-China trade deal and tariff thing, right, was not going well. So they blamed the Trump tariffs on the October 10th flash crash. That had nothing to do with it. That had nothing to do with what happened on October 10th. That was CZ and Binance trying to take out Hyperliquid and flush out as much of the leverage longs as they could, wiping out $20 billion of leverage trades in the market in one day. That's not because of the US-China tariff thing. No, that was just an excuse. They look for these things. and they look for what could cause fear in the market, and then they dump it. And that's what we had again today. So Mike Alfred then says, look, this is a run-of-the-mill correction in risk assets. Run-of-the-mill. It is very minor and routine. Minor. If you are even a tiny bit annoyed or perturbed, which some of you might be, there is a good possibility that you should not try to trade or invest in markets full time. It's okay. Just stick with your day job, right? It's like, if you can't handle it, there's a door. You can just leave, right? Don't blame Kriss. Right? Don't blame Kriss, right? I'm the one who's trying to feed you what's going on and being honest about it. And you're blaming me. And I'm just like, God, new information's coming in, right? New information comes in. And now we're like, yep, that's what's going on. Yep, Dirt 55, whoever you were before, you're now at Dirt 55 CAC. Exactly, makes sense. We've been pumping when the New York exchange closes. That's right. And when the exchange is open, we're dumping, because that's when the BlackRocks, the Fidelities, the ARKs or so sell the Bitcoin. They're not selling them at midnight. They're selling during the day. But yes, Isaac, it's still my fault. Blame Kriss. Go ahead. And for those of you who are new, we bring the classic crypto meme. First time? Right? First time? Here, let me blow that up. There you go. First time, right? Welcome to crypto. Some of you thought it would be so easy. Some of you thought it would be so easy. I'll just buy some crypto and I'll make 5x, 10x money, no problem. Doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And George is like, hey, it's not luck. When you eventually win and make money in crypto, it's not luck, right? You got to go through the bear market. You got to go through all the FUD. And in the end, most of us actually win. But how do you do that? You buy on the dips and you hodl. Again and again and again, that has been the winning formula in crypto. You buy the dips and you hodl. If you try and leverage trade, look what's continuing to happen. People getting wiped out. You got these guys down here saying, well, he's just lucky. Nope. You had to get through the tough times to actually make it. And many times it takes longer than you'll expect. As I've said many times, when there is an expectation that something is going to happen, most unexpectedly, that's not what's going to happen. It's going to be like the opposite. So this year, the whole October and Moonvember thing, yeah, you can look back at October and you say, hey, Bitcoin hit a new all-time high on October 6th. So that was kind of like October, at least for the first week of the month. But it all changed on October 10th. The whole market changed on October 10th. Because then you had the fear and the doubt. It was all there. And the market makers pounced. The DGen Gambler says, look, it's not about bull or bear anymore. Right? You can call it what you want. It's not about bull or bear anymore. The BTC structure is broken. Clean, undeniable damage. Maybe it dips a bit deeper. Maybe it doesn't. But the play is still the same. Buy what you can. Hold what you have. Sell into the inevitable 108K to 110K bounce. relief rally. I made a video this morning about the relief rally. Unfortunately, half of the comments are like, oh, it didn't go up, it dumped and went the other way. And I'm just like, I don't care about that. You're zoomed in too close. That's why today on the live stream, we're going to zoom out and we're just going to look at the weekly chart, because your reaction is just a few hours after I made the video. Crypto goes up and down, but the bigger picture is it's going to go back up. I believe that. Some of you may call it a tulip bubble and say that was it. Never going to go up again. I don't know. Never happened before. Never happened before. If you survive this phase with clarity and not emotion, you'll have plenty of time to assess the wounds later. Right now, your only job is positioning. That's it. I'll get to you guys in the chat in just a minute. A few more. And today, there is like all of the, Bitcoin's down 31%. Oh, right? Of which we've shown there's two other 31% pullbacks this cycle that Bitcoin has had. On two other occasions already this cycle. The last one was the Trump tariff fear, right? Bitcoin went down 31%. But guess what? It turned back around. Today, it's 31% easier to acquire one full Bitcoin than it was on October 6th. Buying opportunity? The market sentiment is still pretty bad. It's still pretty choppy. Tough to buy right now, but when we look back, maybe 85,000, 86,000 Bitcoin is a steal right now. We don't know. Or it could continue down the path to 69K. Technical analysis is thrown out the window. Like I said, TA is thrown out the window. Nobody expected this in November. Some traders will say, oh, I called it. Did you really? If you're shorting the market like James Wynn, you're like, hey, I'm winning. Good for him. He already lost how many hundreds of millions of dollars up to the point where he finally started winning? That's the gambler mentality, right? The good news, right? Because you guys want some good news, right? I'm not here just bad news. It's good too. Look, today, now, just in $5 billion in Bitcoin shorts are now going to be liquidated if Bitcoin rallies just 10% up to 95,000. Because you know what? James Wynn got in on his short early, but now we got a bunch of other degen gamblers coming in, shorting Bitcoin, but they're shorting it too late, possibly. And guess what happens? If Bitcoin just goes up 10% to 95,000, the exchanges and the market makers are going to be feasting on $5 billion of leveraged shorts. That's a lot of money. And if you look at this chart, you're like, man, that's a lot of money up here. Look how much on the long side is left down here. That's not a lot. They flushed almost all of it out. Yeah, are they going to get this 85.5, like a couple of these big things? Yeah, maybe. And then maybe some of these lower ones will start spiking up, right? But right now, where's the majority of the leverage trades? It's all up here. It's all the shorts. This is going to be ripe for the picking. This line is going to move, and I think it's going to move back up. There is going to be a relief rally, and it's going to be taking out these shorts because the exchanges and the market makers can. All they need is that little bit of news, that little nugget of positive news. when some retail traders start coming in and rebuying, and then they're going to rocket the price up and they're going to take out the shorts. That's what makes the crypto market move. Now, Dogecoin can always overcome that with its own news, where retail FOMO kicks in, like we saw in 2021, like we saw when Elon bought Twitter in October of 2022. And despite the exchanges and market makers trying to bring the price further down and down and down with all the FUD that was going on in late 2022, Dogecoin doubled in price, right? Because retail FOMO kicked in. And my friends, let me tell you, the X-Money account still says launching in 2025. It still says it, launching in 2025. This is the little bit of news right here that I think can turn the entire crypto market around. With Dogecoin leading the way, like it did back in 2021, the same thing happened. Yeah, Mark, ripe for the picking. Now we can turn to Kev, right? Good Kev Capital, right? And do all the technical analysis in the world, right? Change whatever the moving average lines are to make it make sense, right? Because that's what all the TA guys are doing now, right? They're changing their theses, right? They're changing their theses. They're changing the moving averages on their charts to make it make sense for them. I get it, right? They're trying to rationalize what happened. They're trying to figure it out, just like I am. I just take it from a different approach, right? It's not that what the TA guys are doing is wrong, right? That's their way of rationalizing what's happening in the market. I get it, right? I don't do TA, right? I talk about TA. Every once in a while, I draw some lines on the chart just to show the trends, right? And show what's going on. But the TA guys, they need to make it make sense. And Kev's, he's great, right? And he's pointed out the next resistance zone for Bitcoin is up at 98 to 106. And that 98 to 106 level, it's not that much different than this. Looking at where all of the shorts are that can get liquidated. It's the same thing. I use the liquidation heat maps, this kind of data, determine what I think the market is going to do. And Kev uses lines on a chart. And we come to the same conclusion. Isn't that funny? We come to the same conclusion. Bitcoin could very well be back up over 100K in not too long a time. Relief rally, like I talked about this morning. I didn't say today, right? I didn't say there would be a relief rally today. Not once did I say that in that video this morning. But yet, some of my friends, Jadrenko and some of the other ones, right? They're looking at the 5-minute chart, right? Got to zoom out. So today, we're going to zoom out. And we're just going to keep it on the weekly chart. Now, if there's some huge movement that happens here during the live stream, I'll zoom into the 1 minute. Awesome. But we're not going to do anything in between today. So that's what I've got. Sorry, that was a lot of words. That was a lot of stuff. But you know what? This market has been different. It has been different. I know, Gappy, you're a different kind of TA guy. You're the moon guy, right? You're the moon guy. Do we have a full moon or a new moon? Does that mean it goes up or it goes down? Whatever you use to make it make sense for you, right? If it works for you, awesome, right? I love it. Awesome. Now, true, CDC, if the prices don't drop, people will want to buy. They're not going to buy into the fear because there's still fear. You're right. Right. And some of you do love a little TNA every now and then, don't you? Absolutely. Love a little TNA, don't you? Yeah. Gappy's our resident moon guy. He's our moon boy. New moon equals lower prices, I guess. So let's get to the full moon again, right? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I know it was a bit long, going on half an hour. Usually my intros on live streams are usually like 10 or 15 minutes, but I had a lot to say today. And all Charlotte heard was a lot of words and a lot of stuff. Of course. But I get it all out there anyway. I get on a roll, and I was on a roll. Anthony, I keep hearing, I get it. But crypto is falling like a ship's anchor. Yep. And I rationalized it pretty well, didn't I, Anthony? I'm not talking about today. I'm talking about a bigger picture. This 21 shares Dogecoin ETF, I think, isn't the one we think it is. It's not a spot Dogecoin ETF. It's something else. BTC has to bounce at 84K because there's a small support or a line right there. Welcome, Jason. We need the Pax cat bounce. Yeah, where is that cat when we need him, right? Where is that cat? Mark says this has been the crappiest bull run yet. Has it? Has it, Mark? Look at the chart here. Why do you think I'm looking at the weekly chart here? If we go back to August of 2023, Bitcoin to its all-time high went up almost 400%. And I didn't even go back to 2022, just to 2023, right? The last 2 years. You don't think a 400% gain is a bull market? What do you mean? And that was just again to October 10th. 400% gain. Now we could go to Dogecoin, right? And you want to say, oh, well, Dogecoin didn't go up that much, didn't it? Now let's take a look. Let's go back to August of 2023. Now, what do you want to point to? The current price is up 160%. It's not bad. But you could point to 48 cents up here, right? It's high for this cycle, 700%. You don't think 700% gain in a crypto asset is a good bull run? Crappiest bull run? That was actually pretty good. Now we can look at where I sold, right? 42 cents right there, 600% gain. Like the crypto I bought in the summer of 2023. I made 600% on that crypto I bought. Now, I was expecting to take another slice up at 50 cents. We didn't quite get there. And I ended up selling on the fear of the tariffs here. It was still over a 400% gain. You think that's a crappy bull run? Because you continued to hold. Okay, I get it, right? We did go up to 30 cents here in September. Still a 400% gain from the summer of 2023. It's actually been a pretty good bull run. It's just been different this time because we got warped here with the big run here in November 2024 with the Trump election and the whole Doge Elon thing and all of that, right? So we had all of that. But that's what the market has been. The message is hodl. So many bearish people make me bullish. Exactly. And that is what the market makers look for too. Eventually, they're going to turn around and they're going to get those shorts. That's the relief rally. We don't know when it's going to come. Is it a fun ride? I know, isn't it? But the problem is people get so emotional about it. I get it. It's your money, right? But your expectation of how much you were going to gain, right? You have to look in the mirror and look at yourself. What was your expectation? To get rich quick? It happened for some. Some people get lucky. Some people, it just takes longer, and you have to have conviction to make that happen. And you only have yourself to applaud or blame, not somebody else. Dogecoin is holding up better than Bitcoin and ETH today. Yes. This has been, and why is that? Yeah, Ryan, why is that? Why is Dogecoin holding up better than Bitcoin and ETH? Well, we go right here to the heat map, right? In the last hour, ETH and Bitcoin, right? They're the top leaders in how much leverage was liquidated. This is what the market makers were targeting, ETH and Bitcoin. They weren't targeting Dogecoin. So ETH and Bitcoin fell harder because that's what they were targeting, not Doge. So Dogecoin's doing relatively okay today. Con says pump it. The Grayscale ETF should still launch on Monday. Yes. And that's big time for Grayscale to have Dogecoin spot ETF. So we'll see. Anthony, capital preservation. Don't be trapped into buying now for a bounce. Save the money, enjoy life, rather than be tempted to buying into more crypto. That's you, Anthony. That's your opinion. Others are going to buy now, and when a relief rally comes, they're going to ride it up, and then they're going to make a little bit of profit. Or they buy and hold until the next cycle. Who knows? We don't know how long that next cycle is going to be, but right now you're looking at 2026, and you're looking at, wow, quantitative easing, right? M2 money supply going back up. We've got like more flush liquidity in the market. We got, let's talk about like Fed Chair Powell, right? His contract is up in May. So we're going to have a new Fed chair who's going to be political and who is going to do whatever Trump wants, which is lower interest rates, which flush more money into the markets. Like 2026 is actually looking rather bullish right now. So yeah. I think people don't want to miss out on the end of the world, so they want to pretend like these bad moments in crypto have never happened before. But they have. Just look back at 2022. 2022 was bad. Worse than the Trump tariff pullback. Yes, worse than the Trump tariff pullback. We had Luna, Three Arrows Capital, Celsius, Voyager, BlockFi, FTX, like bam, 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 like all of these bad news, which was all in crypto. Have we had that in crypto this year? I mean, outside of the manipulation and the leverage, there hasn't been a big crypto black swan news event. Crypto's actually been doing pretty well news-wise this cycle. Yeah, there's some like overlying FUD out there about quantum computing, and even Vitalik came out the other day and said something else about quantum, like we got to watch out for it in the coming year. It's just like, it's so way out there. They can't even make a stable quantum computer like chip or board. That's so far out there. Oh, PaxCat Your King is still at PaxCat Your King, and you're here. Awesome. Thank you, Dino. I hope you understand the reason Kriss is here, sitting in his new house, is because of his ability to invest in the critical crypto environments and maintain a level-headed approach. That's how I made it. Yeah, Megal's down. Megal's down. Oh, man. Zone, 29 cents. What a joke. Can we talk about Zone? What is there to say? It just keeps going down. It's such a bad stock. I bought it to try and like support Dogecoin, maybe like make a little money on the swing trade, and it dumped hard because of the stupid decisions that the board made on a registration, and they pull the registration back, and there's dilution, and there's selling and all that crap. And it's just like, yeah, that was a rug pull. Bought right into a rug pull. In XRP, we trust, Ricky says. $2. Yeah, XRP is doing just as bad as everything else. In fact, Dogecoin is holding up much better than XRP today. Bitcoin Cash. And Zcash, of course, is the one, right? But Bitcoin Cash, sure. Bitcoin Cash. Yeah, still red, still pulling back. Oh, look at it. I even had a mark here back in March of 2024 calling the top on Bitcoin Cash. Look at that. Right around $700. Interesting. Because it went on this big pump. And of course, Zcash, again, we're zoomed out. We're only looking at the weekly, right? So we're zoomed out. We can see the last few years. And what do we see with Zcash? We see this. Nobody cared about Zcash in 2023. Nobody cared about Zcash in 2024. Nobody cared about Zcash all the way up until October or end of September of this year. And then we get the big God candles. So Zcash today, right, is the darling. And I'm like, I'm not buying Zcash at $700, right? No way. You're buying the top. That's what I say. Will Zcash go higher? Maybe. But I look at a chart like this and I say, man, if you're not taking profits on this thing right now, just like I took profits on Doge at 42 cents after the big green candles. But people are buying it at 700. That's quite the chart, isn't it? I mean, that's all of our dreams, right? You buy crypto way down here, and then you get these giant God candles. Welcome to Zcash. You want to be the Zach King of the Hill ride? Like I was with Bitcoin. I enjoyed that for like 2 months. Buying Bitcoin at the highest price for 2 months. And then it finally overtook me. New lower low today. 1 or 2 more lower lows starting to flatten out, and then we'll swing back up maybe. The news of the China-US tariff deal will be complete next week. That will give an excuse to pump the market. Well, we'll see if the stock market agrees, right? The stock market is feeling toppy right now, and there is a lot of negativity now entering the stock market. Even the NVIDIA great earnings yesterday that everyone was applauding, NVIDIA even ended up down today. So, yeah. A fun ride, yeah. Justin, do I have Bitcoin? Yep, I still hold some Bitcoin. I still hold some Bitcoin, and I hold Doge, and I hold a number of other small bits of things, which I'll eventually be selling. But I may be round tripping it too right now. Again, I sold 85% of my portfolio. I've got 15% left in a moon bag. Right? Somebody said that. It was Leia. I got my 10% moon bag. Right? And that's what that may be. Matt, I made around 400% on my Dogecoin. First time, people. Yeah, 45 centish when it was there. You were up that much. When the Fed starts printing money, and that is probably January 2026, Peter. And Bitcoin dominance, yes. Again, well, if ETH didn't get targeted as much as Bitcoin, on the leverage, because there's a lot of leverage ETH traders as well, this Bitcoin dominance would be going down much more. And maybe we'd be down at like 52%, which is the 200-week moving average here. Maybe we would actually be down there. But ETH is getting targeted as well by the market makers. So this Bitcoin dominance isn't dropping as much, but it is down. Yep. Anthony says, Kriss, many here would probably be thinking, what am I going to do now? I mean, like now. And that's your decision to make. I can't tell anyone what to do. Some people may see this as a buying opportunity. Maybe some are waiting for confirmation that the sell-off is ending and this thing's going to turn around. I'm just looking at the good news ahead and I'm saying, hey, Bitcoin Doge is 30% cheaper now than it was just 6-8 weeks ago. What confuses me, F1 says, 1% of the population on Earth has 1 million a day, day in, day out. Who the heck is shorting and longing crypto around the clock every single day? Extremely sus. Agreed, F1. You think it's exchange to exchange working together? No, I think there are actual whales that love to leverage trade with big dollars. But interesting thought. You think the exchanges are in cahoots with one another, manipulating the market down. So they're false trades, kind of. But the API shows the data of those trades actually getting liquidated, which means that's real money. So is it worth it to get liquidated that much money to bring the price down? I don't know. Aloha, Duchess. Liquidity's coming soon. That's what I see. Handy Dan, all I need is more money to buy more. Crypto's keeping you occupied better than stocks. Stocks are slow and steady, but when you're retired, do you still want slow and steady? I don't know. I guess it depends on like how you're doing finance-wise, right? If you're pinching pennies and going like month to month on your Social Security and your 401k or whatever it is, maybe crypto isn't where you want to be. Interesting, Sunshine. 80% of the world's central banks are already into quantitative easing. Huh. Just not the US. Jason got some Doge right below 15 cents. 14.9. Yeah, I didn't think we would be seeing these prices at this time of the year. The only thing about not knowing if we're getting a rate cut or not is it's not priced in. So if we do get a rate cut, the market will go up. That's, Linda, that's good thinking. Exactly. If most of the betting market and the percentages are no rate cut and we do get one, surprise. Hey, Raiden, thank you for the super chat. Keeping it real, like and subscribe, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for being here today. I had a good half-hour rant at the beginning of the live stream if you missed it, but it was a banger. It was a banger. Mark, you made some money on Luna before it went to zero? I just wasn't in it. I never bought it. I never believed what Terra, that algorithmic stable coin, and Luna, I didn't believe any of it. So I didn't touch it. So that's how I won. We can't find any relief at all when there's not even bad news on the macro. Doubt this dip is real or going to last. Could be. Maybe now we should enter zone Yeah. Tell that to William. Poor William, right? Buying zone at like 36, 37, whatever the price was, or maybe bought it at 40, and now it's at like 29. Just like, God, that's such a bad stock. That's a bad stock. Zone played us good. Yeah, I'm not happy with the House of Doge. Remember, the Dow and NASDAQ hasn't had a decent correction of about 20%. Imagine what a 20% correction would do. Well, no, we had it. We looked at it right here. That was March. Wasn't that 20%? Yeah, that was 20%. It was like 22% there, Anthony. That was 22%. February 10th to April 7th. So we did have it right there. Is this going to be another 20% pullback? This is S&P 500. Will Zcash enter the top 20? So number 10 or top 10 is Cardano. Cardano is at 15.7 market cap. Zcash is at 11.4. So it has to earn $4 billion more in market cap in order to catch Cardano. $4 billion. That's almost half its value. So it would have to go up to like $1,200, $1,300 while Cardano sits still. That's a lot. I don't see this Zcash continuing on this rapid pace like it has for the past month. I don't see it. But the whole privacy coin thing, it's like, well, why didn't Monero do that? Monero didn't do that. Just Zcash. So Zcash is getting a lot of hype now. Like Arthur Hayes is all into it now, and whoever else like piling on after it already started mooning, not before. No, I wouldn't be buying at 700. May. I know you're meh because your profile picture. Hong Pongs is your at. Okay. I think you'd rather be called meh. I'm so glad I sold my altcoins and bought Doge. Now I'm only down 30% instead of 60%. Yeah, there you go. My Bonk and Pepe, they're not looking too good right now. Not looking too good. Pengu is having a good day today, comparatively, but if Bitcoin's ever going to compete with gold, the 4-year cycle must be broken. Well, tell that to the crypto exchanges and market makers. The 2020 hindsight would be a good superpower to have, wouldn't it, Mark? God, you'd be awfully rich, wouldn't you? Pat B bought another 5,000 Doge. Yeah, buy high, sell low. Exactly, David. Buy high, sell low. Round trip, we going on vacation? Let's do it. Let's do it. Hey, Goose, how are you? Yes, walking us back from the ledge. We're zoomed out. We are zoomed out. We're not zooming in. We're not looking at the price action. We're zoomed out, looking at the bigger picture. Dogecoin is actually still, since the April lows at 13 cents, 14 cents in June, 15 cents now. It's still a higher low. Can you believe that? With all the FUD in the market, we're still at a higher low than June and April. Will Bitcoin go down to 30K? I don't think so, Gene. Again, mine is like 65. That's my target. 65K, which is the 80% decline max. What am I doing? Pasty, I'm talking to you guys. What are you doing? How cold is it in Boston? It is 38 degrees right now. 38. It's going to freeze tonight. Selling now would be like thinking Doge will never go up again. But that is a lot of the sentiment. People aren't looking ahead at what can happen. They're just looking at the most current, most recent, and it's all negative. It's all bad. So they're just going to sell. Continuing U.S. jobless claims rose to the highest since 2021 in today's claims report, implying people who don't have jobs are having a harder time finding new ones. So the Fed should cut rates, right? But instead, the news is out there that we're not going to have the data, right? That's old data. That's from September, right? Now it's November. We need the new data, but we're not going to have the new data. Kyle, will the Epstein files have a big impact on crypto? No. No one cares. In crypto, no one cares about the Epstein files. The Dems are trying to destroy the economy. They're not trying to destroy the economy. I think they've got other agendas, and finding ways to seek power and control is what they're doing. And the economy is suffering a little for that. That's the way I see it. Compo, thanks for the super chat. Frozen shrimps for Pax Cat from your cats. Oh, look at the two of them. So cute together. It's right there. Those two guys. Very cute. Of course, thinly sliced, yes. Can't have it any other way. Kilmar, what am I going to do with all the money? All I want is Doge. Yeah, it doesn't matter how much Doge you have, you're in the game. Exactly, CDC. Let's do a poll. Do you now still hold Dogecoin? Yes or no? So, how many of you don't hold Dogecoin now? It's going to be a small percentage, I'm guessing, but let's see. Because I think most of you still hold Dogecoin. But let's see on the poll. Be honest. Are you still holding Dogecoin? Yeah, it doesn't matter how much, Chadwick. Even if it's 2%, it would be yes. Considering how bad the job markets are now, it seems kind of crazy they're considering not cutting. I know, but the fear is they won't have the data. You think most of the liquidations are fake, Con? You think so? Interesting. Yep, sky limit, hodl long term. Round tripping it again. But I think the round trip is going to be shorter this time. Could be a real short bear market, and then we're bulls again. So why are people like Kriss so involved in crypto? Because, one, you still can make money in crypto, just don't do stupid things. And two, especially with Dogecoin, it is kind of fun with Doge. That's why we do Doge here. Where's the market integrity? Who cares? It's Doge. Rigged? Yes. We could always buy bonds. We've got some who say, don't listen to this guy. But I mean, all I'm doing is telling you what's going on. Why wouldn't you want to hear that? Why wouldn't you want to hear the real truth about what's actually going on with the market manipulation? Why wouldn't you want to hear that? Miriam. Shaj got some Doge. Trade X VIP bought some Doge today. How you doing, Con? We're at 99% yes right now. So we only have one vote that's a no. Everybody else has Dogecoin. Any more no's? Tom Lee is saying in an earlier interview about the downward spiral being caused by a computer. No, Tom Lee just wants to pump his ETH bags. That's all he wants. There's no computer program bug. That's garbage. He wants to pump his ETH bags. He already predicted $8,000 ETH, like in the next month. That's all he wants, is his ETH bags being pumped. Anyone notice BTC and Doge get crushed during US equity market hours? And once it closes, it moves higher. Yep. We talked about it earlier, Sean. Exactly. Because that's when the ETFs are selling during market hours. And then it ends. So yes, at 9:30 this morning, the market's tanked. And guess what's going to happen tonight? They're going to go back up. Bonds. Stay away from the paper hand ETFs. Agreed. I don't think about Toshi, boss. Sorry. I think Fed money printing machine coming soon, then big pump for a while, and then a world-class dump after that. Huh, interesting. Why not happy with the House of Doge? So the annoyed elephant asks about the House of Doge. Well, it seems like this whole partnership with Clean Core Solutions to make a Dogecoin treasury company had other stuff going on behind the scenes, manipulating stock, and then ending up dumping on the market. So Clean Core went from $2 to now 29 cents a share. Figure that out. The Dogecoin treasury company, the stock went from $2 a share to 29 cents a share. That's what they did. I've given up on my miner. Yes, Compo. Given up on it. Get in the zone, auto Jason. Now that is funny. I like that. Thanks. I needed that. I needed that today. Yeah, I've already kissed off that money in zone. It's just gone. Gone. Lower prices attract people with little money. And that's another beauty of Dogecoin as well. It is a low price. 15 cents a Doge. It's a low price. It's easy to buy. You can get it on any exchange. Chadwick, you think they're going to dump Bitcoin under 60? Well, I mean, we're at 87 now, so that's a long ways to go. It's interesting that, this 200-week moving average is now at about 55. So, Chadwick, you think they're targeting that? That's what the TA guys will say, right? 200-week moving average. Interesting. Chuck says hodl. Not even considering selling with the way it's looking, riding it out. Maybe XRP. If you want to buy some XRP at $2, $1.99, get your XRP right here, $1.99. Yeah, the whole leverage thing, F1, it wouldn't surprise me if things are going on behind the scenes. Wouldn't surprise me at all. The idea of a short bear market is interesting. Yeah, Matt. Just came up with that today. It's a mini bear market. Changes the entire theory of crypto cycles, doesn't it? You think Zcash is going to 1,000? So are you buying it at 700? Are you buying it? I wouldn't touch it at $700. No way. No, Powell doesn't want to resign. That would look bad. He wants his legacy intact. Wrote out the whole contract, did his part, and then he'll retire. Resigning would not look good for him. He wants to ride it out. No way Zcash passes Doge. No way Zcash catches up to Cardano. That's be like 1,200, 1,250 right now. So up another 50% plus from this point. The whole software bug thing, that's FUD. That is just FUD. There's nothing to that. You really think Bitcoin's going to go to zero in your lifetime? You really think that? Wow. I can't say no. I can't say it's impossible. Like the Matrix, right? Just invades the Bitcoin core and disables it, and all Bitcoin becomes worthless, right? That's what you're talking about. Hopefully we are closer to the bottom. After max pain comes max gain. Daniel, I'm doing great. Bummed, but what if this is exactly what the market makers wanted to do? Push it down at the end in order for next month to pump it with God candles. Yep. Yep, exactly. I mean, look at all these shorts up here. Here's where the price is now. There's not many longs left, right? They've flushed them all out. It's a few more here at about 85.5, 85.6. But look at all the new shorts. Look at that. That's a lot of shorts. Can we go from 86 to 98? Like take out most of that? Probably. William, you bought some more Doge today? Popcat, Bonk, and Pepe refused to give us our money back. Yeah, I know. Pengu was starting to come back a little bit, but those others, ugh. Be Biff from Back to the Future. Dogecoin, please pump. Chaos Boy drinking a Pacifico on a rainy Thursday. Hope you're enjoying that. Could X Money be using House of Doge later? No. No. Elon would not rely on that. No, Elon would have his own engineered thing and wouldn't be using House of Doge. That's my take on it. It snowed in England. That's cold. Could Pengu go to zero? Anything could go to zero, but I doubt it. There's always going to be some holders, and it's always going to have some kind of worth to it. So I don't see it going to literal zero. Figuratively, yeah. I mean, adding a bunch of zeros would do that. But literally, no. Right now, it's coming back to the levels from May, is where it is. So Pengu has had two runs, sort of this double top that we saw. pulled back once, came back, pulled back twice. Can it come back up to 4 cents? Maybe. I'm going to be holding till then, most likely. Rate cut 10th of December? Odds are no, Mike. Odds are no. But the Fed may fool us. I just think they'll be too conservative, and without having the data from October and November, even though the September data called for most likely a rate cut. Yeah, I'm not interested in the Epstein files. I'm really not. I remember last spring, people online talking about how crypto was over forever. The bubble had burst, everything going to zero, blah, blah, blah. And there's no doubt it was bad. I mean, this is not good, right? That kind of pullback there. That's not good. No doubt. We were on our way, though. Dogecoin pumped once, pumped twice, pumped a third time. We were moving up, right? Everything was looking good going into October. We were ready for the next pump. And then it got manipulated, crashed, thanks to Binance. Thank you very much. How many of you still hold Dogecoin? We're now down to 92 yes. So there's some of you that don't hold Dogecoin. 21 shares. Repost. Repost. 13 hours ago. So I don't see a new post. 21 shares. I don't see a new post. Reply? Nope. I don't see a 21 shares post. Could it be the US 21 shares? Different account? Ah. Spotted in the NASDAQ. Yeah, this is the 2x Dogecoin. This is garbage. Come on. Do we need a 2x Dogecoin ETF? Really? Do we need that? That's dumb. I'm sorry. I don't like it. Why do they do that? 2x Dogecoin. Dumb. Hello, how are you? I don't answer any questions without my attorney present. I got past that a long time ago. I don't care. But none of this is financial advice. Any guess how much Doge will be like next Bitcoin halving? Yeah, we got a couple, 2.5 more years till the next Bitcoin halving. Nobody knows. Unregulated exchange are creating artificial liquidity all the time. That is true. Round trip, baby. Raw Paul is still a bull. Yeah, he has conviction, and I don't blame him. Ryan sold it all. However, it's a Doge fire sale. All depends on how you look at it. Ryan dipped the market. Ryan. Yeah, maybe PaxCat isn't coming in anymore because PopCat keeps going down. Can we go up after the Grayscale ETF goes live? Maybe it'll give Doge a little pump. Hey, low roller, we were wondering about you. How many Powerball tickets did you buy? We want to know how many Powerball tickets you bought. Khan's looking at Doge up at 21, 22, 23 cents, and will sell there. Do I still believe in Zone? Nope. But I'm not selling at 29 cents. I mean, that's like the bottom. I could always go to 28, sure. At this point, it's like lost money as far as I'm concerned. Maybe I'll sell on December 31st and use it as a tax loss harvesting thing against my profits. I might do that. We'll see what it does over the next month. I would think that the Zone stock would actually pump a little if X money starts and Dogecoin is pumping. So I'll wait for that. That happens all the time, actually, of a random crypto shooting up for a split second on random exchanges. And that just has to do with the liquidity on that exchange being really low and someone having a really high limit sell order, and someone at that moment does a market buy. We've talked about this before. Binance US was like this all the time once they throttled the ability to transfer money back and forth from your bank because the liquidity just left, and then it would have these random spikes that wouldn't show up on any other exchange. But that's all it is. It's just a limit order set to sell, and somebody just hits a market buy and there's no other limit orders, and it'll spike up like that. And somebody made a lot of money, but it could just be one share too that ends up, I mean, you don't know. But yeah, that happens. F1, you think the lottery is rigged too? Well, Anthony, there'll probably be some selling at year's end of people who are doing tax loss harvesting, like I'm going to do, probably with some. And there'll probably be a dip that last week of December. We might see that. Not feeling well, Duchess, sorry. If Bitcoin's going down more than Doge, totally manipulative. Correct. Today was the day. Pounding on ETH and Bitcoin. Of course, hold Doge. Can't go to zero. Agreed. The whole real world use case thing right now with any crypto is just speculative. It really is. It's all in the crypto world already. Nobody outside the crypto world is actually using crypto. Not really. Little fringes here and there, but not happening. Ain't no God candle skin coming. Well, with the sentiment as is now, it'll be really, really hard. Yeah, what will replace Bitcoin? Good question, DB. Hey, Demo, great time to buy. You got a bunch of Pepe in the 48s. Pepe's got a wild chart. Like all these big giant green boxes we had, all the big spikes. It'll probably do another one. Right now, though, it is as low as it's been since April of 2024. Look at that. All this trading up here is all in the red. You got to go back to April 2024, the last time Pepe was at this price. Wow. Wow. You wish I was the ETF advisor? It's just, you got to make sense. I'm not a huge Back to the Future fan. Not like I know like all the details of it or anything. I enjoyed the movies. They're fun. But lately, I just think any movie that involves time travel is just, it's kind of dumb. I think it's a bad plot when you're just making a movie around time travel, because time travel is not real, never will be. People fantasize about it, but there's no such thing. And it's just, to write a movie around time travel is just, I don't know. That was a fun one. I'll admit that. But lately I'm just like, if I start watching a movie and then there's some time travel thing, I turn it off. I just turn it off. But that's just me. Is crypto vulnerable to wash sales? Yeah, it is. But sometimes it's guessing. You're just guessing. It's like gambling. Total manipulation. Yeah. Do I think we're at the bottom? I have no idea. Demo. No way to know. Dogecoin's recovering a little bit, but we wouldn't know because we're zoomed out on the weekly chart today. We're zoomed out on the weekly chart because I'm not getting caught up in the little minute-by-minute action right now. Always will have Dogecoin. Me too. DB, that's right. 28-cent Doge. We got about 12 days left, right? The old Georgia live streams. Everyone's saying Bitcoin going to zero. Yeah. 2018, again, that was the time when I was first exposed to Bitcoin. And I saw the price just going down all the time. And I was like, yeah, I'm not buying any of this. And that was it. I didn't think about crypto again until 2020. That was it. You sold your 33 Dogecoins, Anthony. Did you really? Well, there you go. Hold 10 years. If it goes to zero, oh well. But if it goes to $1, music, never sold. I know, Ryan, right? Disappointing. 33 Dogecoin. Couldn't even keep 33 Dogecoin. Yeah, I don't know what MicroStrategy is going to be. I mean, I don't know what's going on there, but Michael Saylor was doing all of these stock manipulative things, creating preferred stock and creating this other stock. And I don't know how all that worked, but man, with Bitcoin possibly going back to 74K, which is his break-even price, that stock is not going to hold up very well. Kriss against Warren Buffett or Peter Schiff. Well, Peter Schiff has already done a lot of those kinds of debates. I already know where he stands. And Warren Buffett doesn't care about crypto. He doesn't even think about it. So you wouldn't even be able to debate Warren Buffett on it because he just doesn't care. Peter Schiff certainly knows about it, very much so, which is why he goes to all these Bitcoin conferences, right? He was at the Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas. He knows what's going on. But he's got this persona of being the gold guy, so he only talks about gold and he thinks Bitcoin is garbage. That's it. Sailor wants it all. Doge is headed to a double bottom at 9 cents. Yeah, that's what I called 9.5 cents for the bottom of the bear market. I didn't think it would happen in 2025, though. The fix is in. I'm down nearly 50% now, quite a significant amount of money. I hold a lot of different crypto. Yeah, I cannot tell you what to do at this point. I mean, you certainly bought for a reason at the price you bought. I don't know what the rest of your financial situation is. So I can't even pretend to tell you what to do. I'm guessing you haven't held it for very long, so you haven't been in the crypto market for a long time. Like many of us, we've been in for years. So learn from it. I will just tell you that it doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing. So if there are some of your cryptos that you bought that you now don't believe in because you've learned more since then, maybe those are the ones you get out of and you reallocate to something you believe in more. This would be an opportunity to do something like that. I would say something like that. I didn't see Tensor. I heard some people talking about it, but it's right up till 12:31 yearly in the United States. So if you sell at 11:30 at night on December 31st, it counts on your 2025 taxes. Yeah, unfortunately, the hot tub time machine doesn't really work. Gabby, yes. No, Ryan, we know. There's no time travel. You're a maniac for Back to the Future? It's a movie about family. Yeah, and then they just took it because the sequels always are just money makers. They make the sequels just to make money. Tell me more about tax loss harvesting. Mark, we will in a couple weeks when we do the epic yearly crypto tax live stream, which is just 3 weeks away now. And we will talk about tax loss harvesting. All right? 3 weeks. We will cover it. Bye. What's up, Kronos? Life got in the way. I get it. The first 30 minutes of this live stream today was a banger. I will just tell you that. Even at 2x speed, it's a banger. Banger. I'm going to time travel back to when Billy and Jackson first thought. See, that's why there's no time travel. Do I regret not buying Bitcoin? When I saw it, it was like 12K. And when I was watching it, it went down to 11 or 10, something like that. I didn't know it was going to go to 3. Probably guessed it would, but I didn't see it at that time either. So no regrets. A bear market because Anthony sold those 33 coins were special. Well, they were very special, at least for the KrissPax channel, the KrissPax family. Those 33 Doge. Hope everyone has had an awesome day, of course. Doesn't matter what happens to crypto prices. We still want to be okay. Yeah, that whole interstellar thing. Cool movie concept with the passage of time. But yeah, it's still kind of weird. John Jones, haven't sold any. VP indirectly says people ought to do it before it goes to, you mean 5 cents? Is that what he's thinking? Totally have no idea. Exactly. We do the best we can. What a time to be alive. Everyone is on edge this time because we're approaching the bear market or already in it, like many believe. Embrace it and don't quit your day job. Exactly. Don't quit that day job. Brian sold a week ago. Sadly, sentiment. Manipulation. You're thinking 10 cents? You're going to buy back in? We'll see. You've been around multiple bears, low roller? Got a long time horizon, right? It has worked. Couldn't the bull run start at the mid to end of December? So when we peak, it'll be next year. Taxes can be long-term for most. Yeah, that whole tax thing. Again, right now, I'm just looking at maybe selling some of my losses by the end of the year and then buy back in and restart the clock. Because I had a lot of profit in 2025. I wasn't thinking I would be selling anything for a loss. I thought I would be selling everything for profit in November, and it just hasn't worked out that way. So now tax loss harvesting becomes a thing for me because I'm going to be a very high tax bracket this year. So I'm paying the maximum tax. So if I sell, let's say I sell my bonk, right? I've lost over half. So I sell it. That loss offsets some of my profit that I made in Doge and other things. Brings down my overall capital gains profit. So yeah, I'm probably going to do that. Would I debate Peter Schiff if I had the chance? Sure, I would do that. I like to talk to Peter. I would. So Jay, we don't know. I don't think we'll ever technically be in a recession. Trump won't allow that to happen in the United States. Doesn't mean the economy is great. I think the economy is just kind of mixed right now. A lot of pain that Trump is causing, but I think the ideas that he has about the tariffs and getting more manufacturing done here in the United States is good long-term, but short-term pain. I think that's all it is. The American Bitcoin company has mined 3,000 Bitcoin in Q3. Good for them. Travel to the future, have a peak, and then come back and trade. Exactly. It's not happening. AI is in control. Well, we've talked about the Mag 7 and all, and how like S&P 500 is very top heavy with only like 7 or 8 stocks, NVIDIA being one of them. So yeah, what happens to NVIDIA does have a direct impact on the stock market, not necessarily on the crypto market. The crypto, again, it's all about the exchanges and the market makers, not what's happening with NVIDIA. Kamala would often speak about the passage of time. Yeah, in her word salad, right? She goes into that word salad stuff, and it's just like, what is she talking about? Oh, yeah, Gappy, stay away from cliffs. Yep, Gene, yep. I just came to that conclusion today. If we're already in a bear market, it'll probably be short. No regrets, exactly. I remember that, right? It was a tattoo or someone that's the meme, right? No regrets. I need to find another day job. I quit my other job. Jobs are tough right now, DC. Jobs are tough right now. I predict Bitcoin can drop by 75% down to 45K if we follow each cycle. Each bear market percent getting less, right? So it won't go to 45K. We did the math here. You take it from the all-time high, right? And then you go down. If it's 45, right? That's a 64% drop. 64% drop. Well, that would be less than last cycle. I think you're right, low roller. That would be less than last cycle. Some are predicting this yellow line, which is the 200-week moving average. That would be a 55% drop from all-time high. I was in this range right here, which is like a 50% drop, right around 64, 65K. That's what I was targeting. We'll see. Spence, sold all my stuff, got out. Hope you guys have common sense and sell before it all goes down to 5 cents. We shall see. Brian, bull markets had so much time to happen. Just shocked Doge didn't hit all-time high. I wasn't. And I've talked about that. I took 10% at 30, but held the rest. Not a lot of fun. The SHIB is great for offsetting taxes. Yeah. That's what SHIB is good for. Don't forget to smash the likes. All your money is withdrawn from the crypto account. You're hodling whatever else you have, which isn't Dogecoin. Bills paid in advance, getting ready for overseas trip. Most likely I won't be watching. Enjoy your trip, Anthony. Absolutely. Enjoy your trip. We will miss you. Crypto made it possible for me to be on the same tax bracket as Chirpow. I love it. Yep. For this year, me too. Chirpow. Chirpow. Irma, you think this is temporary? We're going up. Loading up on index funds for my IRA. You know, my 401k, it still just keeps trucking away, making money. Still trucking away because of this S&P 500. I'm in the Vanguard for a lot of it. But I'm also in Russell, and the Russell has done very well as well. But, you know, over time, this was just up, 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 up. Buying twice a month, every month. Chunk, 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 chunk. With matching funds from my employer. Double the money. So, yeah, my 401k is looking really good. I mean, look at this. You just zoom out, and it's just up, 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 up. I rode this whole thing up. $500%. Not bad. Doge is rebounding, but you wouldn't be able to tell because I'm not zooming in on it. Can we all sell Dogecoin on December 31st for helping with tax losses and then rebuy on January 1st with no penalty? Yes. In crypto, there's no penalty. That is correct. Can sell it all. And then the next day, buy back in, no penalty. Now, but if everybody else is doing it, right? You got to make sure that you're selling before everybody else does, so you get the best price when you do sell, and then you buy back in at a lower price on the next day. It doesn't always work out that way. Doesn't always work out that way. Did Trump purposely tank the economy because he wants lower interest rates? No, I don't think so. There are some who think that. I just think he thought that he could just demand the Fed lower the interest rates. I don't think he purposely tanked the economy. The tariff thing was just to make money. You might double your position in Doge, Need to see if McDonald's is hiring. McDonald's! They're always hiring. Spencer, you sold a lot of your stuff. Bear market. Yeah, Gene, 65 is my prediction. But not by the end of this year. No. That's the next bear market. Oh, da, 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 da. We are getting closer to that gift price on your chart. Yeah, that was 9.5 cents. And again, the flash crash went to 9.5. So 9.5 again is my target at the bottom of the bear market, like the real bear, which we still may not be in. I don't know. We're just manipulated here. But yeah, 9.5. Happy Thursday. You have conviction we pump. It's happened before. And I've done videos all along the way. I was doing videos in 2022, 2023. We've seen it before. Mark, Powell is out in May. His contract goes till May. There's an FOMC in April and then not another one till June. And May is when his contract is up. All right, we're going to zoom in here right at the end just to get a peek. Just to get a little peek of what's going on. Hey, recovery. Look at that. I kind of could tell the price was gradually going up here. But you know what? The stock market's closed, and so crypto's going up. Same thing happened yesterday. Last night, we went up, held across until the markets open this morning and then dump. I mean, come on. You can't tell me that's not manipulation and you look at this, right? I mean, come on, look at this. Total manipulation. Big time. All right, gang. Hey, that's for today. Hey, we'll see whether these things play out like I thought, but I'm trying to do the best I can to try and figure out this market. And a lot of the news is sus, right? It's not the news. It's not the news, right? Again, it's the exchanges and the market makers. They use the news as a way to get what they want. Eventually, they're going to find the price that they need in order to flush out the most leverage they can, and then they're going to go get the shorts. I still think that is in the play. So anyway, leave a comment. After the stream is over, all of my streams become videos on my channel, so you can always rewatch, #rewatch, especially the first 30 minutes today, because I was on a roll and I covered a lot about what's going on. If some of you didn't see the first 30 minutes, you may want to watch it, because I did cover a lot of my view of what I think is going on. And there are some others on X. I mean, I gotta look really hard on X to find the people that are actually telling the truth and not the ones who are just permabulls and posting for views and stuff like that. So hope you're all well. We'll be live again on Friday. We're going to be end of the week live stream. Yes, end of the week live stream tomorrow. So we'll sum up the week. Look forward to the weekend and all of that. I hope everyone has a great evening. We will see you tomorrow.
Dogecoin, which started as a complete joke, has like skyrocketed to not a joke anymore. It hit an all-time high of almost 10 cents yesterday, but it was so minuscule you wouldn't have understood why you have millions of shares.
Didn't Elon tweet that too?
And arguably, the most entertaining outcome and the most ironic outcome would be that Dogecoin becomes the currency of Earth in the future.